is a vehicle that is quintessentially American. I feel like if you've lived here for more than, I don't know, a week, you'll probably know somebody who owns a Jeep Wrangler. This is something that has its roots traced all the way back to being a military vehicle, and has stayed pretty much not very much changed throughout the past decades. It's a basic vehicle, very simple, that prides itself in being able to be supremely capable in pretty much all sorts of road conditions, and it's definitely really cool. Today I am driving a Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon Hard Rock Edition, which pretty much is a loaded up Wrangler, as loaded as you'll get before you get to crazy aftermarket AAV parts. So it does come through some pretty good options. I mean, you get steel bumpers, you get rock rails, you get the power dome hood, which not only looks really cool, but also has functional air intakes that help provide extra cooling. Add in some extra little trim touches and all the nicer options, heated seats, you get the upgraded stereo system. Here, the Rubicon Hard Rock represents a very capable vehicle that also has a few more of the creature comforts. Power comes from a 3.6-liter Pentastar V6 that was introduced, I think, back in 2012, and it's pretty much stayed unchanged since then. 285 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque. You can get a Wrangler still brand new with a 6-speed manual transmission, but if you don't get that, you'll have a 5-speed automatic, which is what this has. And nowadays, when cars are coming out with between 7 to 10 speeds in their gearboxes, that's a pretty antiquated gearbox right there. One of the complaints I've always kind of had with Wranglers is the fact that a lot of them spend a lot of their time on pavement, where it is a very mediocre vehicle. The concessions and design decisions that were made in order to make this thing extremely capable off-road mean in turn it's not that great as a road vehicle. You got a lot of road noise, wind noise, because I mean the top isn't actually a real top. The steering is, I mean, one of the most vague and just generally miserable directional control input units I've ever had to use. It doesn't ride that nice. Massive off-road tires don't do great things on pavement. But if you actually want to use this thing off-road, then it's got a ton of equipment that can allow it to do things where most other cars will be dead. You get electronic locking front and rear differentials. You get this really cool sway bar that's able to electronically detach to allow more axle articulation. You get almost a foot of ground clearance, those big off-road tires. This is something where you can drive it around every day. Let's just say for your job, you need to go on a work site and there's dirt and mud and up and down inclines, whatever. This will get you wherever you need to go in the snow. That's what you get this vehicle for. I think some people see the appeal of that. They might not actually use it, and they just kind of want to have the image of, hey, I drive a Jeep Wrangler, it's badass. Still a cool thing, but don't get into this thinking it'll be good on the road, because compared to any other modern automobile, it's not that refined. I will say, from an interior perspective, they've tried to make some concessions to luxury. I mean, it's got heated seats. You've got a good stereo system, the Alpine sound system in this vehicle. But I think it's nice that it didn't go too much. It didn't try to cover everything with leather, because it's still supposed to be rugged. The doors come off on this thing, okay? So plastic is something easy to clean. You don't need to worry about damaging it too much. It works fine. From a styling perspective, the Wrangler is one of the few vehicles that can be drawn pretty much exclusively using a ruler. Its general design language hasn't really changed much throughout the years, and with the 7-slat grille, which I've heard some interesting stories on why 7-slat, I think it's actually trademarked by Chrysler, but 7 slats is supposed to represent the 7 continents that the Wrangler can be used on. Either way, again, if you see a Wrangler go by, it looks unlike anything else on the road. A box of a vehicle with aerodynamics of a barn that is designed where body panels can be taken off. This thing is badass. A lot of people also choose to modify their Wranglers. I mean, there's whole companies predicated upon providing a lot of really cool equipment for these things. I actually was hanging out with my friend Jason, who owns this vehicle, last night, and we were kind of talking about getting wheels for a Wrangler, and we realized it does cost a little more than every other vehicle, because you're not buying 4, you have to buy 5. Can you imagine how stupid a Wrangler would look with 4 different wheels, but the one spare in the back is still the stock one? Yeah, that'd be dumb. Competitors? Really don't think the Wrangler really has any competitors. It sits in a kind of a unique section of the vehicle landscape, which I think is part of the reason why it's been so successful, because there's really nothing else that you can get that can do what this can do. You kind of go up a price level by a lot to something like a G-Class or a Range Rover in order to be as capable, but again, those cost way more money. I don't think that's a fair comparison anymore. Other similar priced utility vehicles that claim to be utility do not have the capability that this thing would have. Those will die, and like a crossover, yeah, good luck. But then it's kind of, yeah, why it's been so successful. The Wrangler is the Wrangler, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, despite I just complain a lot about how it's like to drive on the road, it's still cool. I mean, driving is such a unique, different experience from everything else that I've driven. It's a lot of fun. Now, I will say this entire review, I clearly have not taken it off-road. I'm not trying to damage Jason's vehicle. I've never gone extensively off-roading. I would definitely love to do that. I think my opinion of this vehicle will change for the better. I'd be even more impressed with it if I get to take this and go off-roading. So hopefully I'll get some sort of opportunity like that. So then we get to kind of that number system I came up with. How much do I desire the Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon Hard Rock? I'd say if I had to put a number on it, let's go 70. It's badass. It's cool. For my personal uses, I don't know what I would use it for. It would just be a different vehicle, I think, to go off-roading. The big thing is, again, this is pretty loaded up, and they get expensive. And if you're going to take a vehicle off-roading hardcore, there's chances you'll damage it, you'll scuff it up, you'll mess up the paint, you'll dent it. So then you kind of have either you have so much money we don't care about slightly damaging your car, or you don't actually ever utilize its full capabilities. So it's a very different situation that I've never really faced a decision to make. But overall, I thought this was a lot of fun. It does have its big compromises, but from what I can understand, the upsides in the ruggedness, the capability, hard to beat. Hope you guys liked this video. Please let me know if you have any questions. Comment below. Check out my Instagram. Thanks.